Hello, ladies and gentlemen. How are you all doing today? We are back with another ROG session, and today it's an AMA, which stands for Ask Me Anything. So, you guys had posted some questions that you wanted answered on Instagram, as well as the Instagram of ROG India, and I took it upon myself to actually address these questions so I'll be able to answer them. So I have a collection of some of these questions, and I would also like you guys, if you can, to ask me the questions in the chat as well. So any questions you have could be related to anything, and I will see if I can answer it, and I will try to answer to the best of my ability. Yeah. Questions you have. So let's have a good time with this. All right. Just give me 1 second to make sure I've shared it everywhere. Why is Kaiser your favorite MM buddy? He is not. I don't know where you get that assumption from. Why is Kaiser your favorite MM buddy? He is not. किधर repeat हो रहा है? सही है. Alright. And why is me the worst MM buddy? Worst MM buddies are the ones that abandoned my friend. Hello Simran, hello Sumit, hello Kaizen. How are you all? Alright. While the viewers build up, I think we can start with the question itself. When did you decide that you want to become a competitive player and why? When did I decide? There wasn't like a specific day where I just went, hey, I'll be a competitive player today, or from today I'll be a competitive player. It happened, I'd like to say, as a stroke of luck or a blessing. So from when I was a kid, I always wanted to be a video game designer. So ever since I was in 3rd standard, 4th standard, I used to play a lot of video games. So I just wanted to be the one that made those video games because it looked so interesting. It looked so much fun. So while I kept thinking about making video games, I started learning programming languages and how to make games. When I was in 9th grade, I came across Counter-Strike, and then I started playing a lot of Counter-Strike. And over the years, as I kept playing more and more, I understood there are tournaments, there is esports, a world that I didn't even know existed, and I realized that I could also be one of these competitive players. So it was a shock to me. I'm like, how do I make money playing video games? That's insane, right? So from then on, I just started working to just be good. I didn't think of, hey, I'm going to be a competitive player, I'm going to be a professional player. I didn't even think that to be possible. I thought I was just really bad at the game. And I was just trying my best. So since I think after I finished 12th grade and I picked my college for engineering, after that is when I thought to myself that, hey, I'm having so much fun playing video games, I might actually stand a chance to play against the best and end up making money in the process. And that was where it started, and that's where I started trying really hard to get into good teams, to make myself known. It was a bumpy ride, but eventually I found teammates. I played some tournaments, I ended up getting good placements at those tournaments, and then I got noticed by better players, and then I just kept climbing up the ladder to where I am today and right now. Hello Riddhi, hello 57, hello Gangadharan, how are you all? But yeah, why I became one, there's no why behind it. I just enjoy it, and you should always try to do something that you enjoy. For me, it was playing Counter-Strike. I do love playing video games, but Counter-Strike is a different level of love. And that's why I chose to play and pursue this as a career. What does a day in Marzil's life look like? The second question. Namaste Pranam, how are you? what does a day in Marzil's life look like? On most days, on weekdays, on weekends, it's pretty random on what I do. But on weekdays, it's wake up in the morning at around 10 o'clock max, 10:30. Start my aim routine, which is practicing against a few bots. Watch any demos that I have left to watch. And then I start my day with my team. Around 11:30 to 2:30 is where we have practice, where we do a bit of theory and a discussion about maps. Plus, we play one or two maps against a team. After this, I have my Asus ROG Academy team that I come to coach for 2 hours or 2 hours 30 minutes, something along those lines. So we have one session together. I give them tasks to do at the end of the session, which they proceed to do for the next 3 hours. After 2.5 hours are over, it's usually like around 5 o'clock at this point, where practice with my normal team resumes. From 5 o'clock, it goes on till around 7 o'clock. From 7 o'clock till 8:30, I do my second session with the ROG boys, where I look over the games that they played on the current day, or if they had any tournaments, just looking at what they could have done better, how individual players could improve. And then I also make it a point to check their homework. I assign homeworks also after checking their homeworks for the next day. And by this time, it's around 8:39 is when I try to get something to eat, because in between during the afternoon also there are like 10 minutes or 5 minutes where I do get to eat, where I have my brunch, as they call it. I don't really eat anything as soon as I get up. So this time that I have left after the Swiss practice is over is when I go have a bath, is when I go freshen up, and then I have to start streaming. On some days, it's a little earlier that I start streaming because practice gets over, or because the players have a tournament that they have to play, and it's a much less hectic day. So after this is when I usually have time to relax to myself, to go talk to my parents, to my brother, and play with my dog. And after that is a streaming session that I have to do for my own channel, which ends usually anywhere between 11 to 12 to 1, anywhere along those time frames, but depending on how much I feel like playing some Counter-Strike. And then is when I actually have free time to do whatever I have to do, which is eat some tasty food. Maybe I order some food sometimes. I am a foodie, so I like to try different foods from different restaurants. Then I hang out with my friends on Discord, and that is generally how a normal day would go. Of course, with days here and there, sometimes I get freer than usual. Sometimes, because some of my teammates have to go to university, some timings are a little bit free, and I try to get some work done there, or try to hang out or watch a TV show here and there. And yeah, that's basically a day in my life. Hey Marzil, could you tell us about your first CS rank and how you climbed the ranked ladder? My first CS rank was Master Guardian Elite. How did I climb the ranked ladder? I played games and I killed people and I ranked up. What motivates you to stream daily? More than anything, I think it's the people that watch me. Even when I used to get like 20, 30 viewers in the past, I would try my best to stream daily, because if any of those 20, 30 players have some benefit while playing the game, it's a win for me. It sort of motivates me to keep streaming and keep up showing something, even if it's like a little tad bit, a little move that I can do, one smoke, maybe one molly, as long as it benefits even like a few people in my audience, that's enough for me. And over the recent few months, I've been getting a good amount of viewership as opposed to what I was getting before. So that makes me even happier that more people are tuning in to actually learn how to play the game better than they were before, and that they have hope and belief in me that I am able to do something for the country, and for the country as well as for my team in general. Excuse the tiny F that happened on stream, guys. Connection disconnect करके reconnect किया अभी. Anyway, let's read the question again. फेस इट पर 100 पिंग आती है, क्या मेरे शॉट रजिस्टर नहीं होते या होते हैं? की परफॉर्मेंस काफी बेकार रहती. Regardless of your ping, registry is client-sided for the most part. So if you shoot them, if your aim is proper, it will register. There's no two ways about it. Why don't you try streaming on Twitch as well? I could try streaming on Twitch as well, but I do not think I will get the same amount of exposure as I would if I watched on if I stream on YouTube, because my audience is mainly Indian and Indian people use YouTube and not many use Twitch. No anime is scheduled. TV shows and everything include anime. Okay, let's look at the next questions from Instagram before we look at other questions from chat. Otherwise, there'll be time occupied for this. How many years have you been playing CSGO? I have been playing CSGO since 2012, 2013. So that would be around 9 years now. Total of 9 years. 8.5. Let's give it 8.5. How do you avoid tilting in matchmaking or face it? So, people have different ways of tilting. There are times where I get a little bit upset about losing rounds, regardless if it's face it, matchmaking, or in officials as well. How do I control it or try to bring it down? I just try to remind myself at the end of the day on matchmaking and face it's just a game. And when I know the skill level of the players around me, it's a lot better. When I look at their facial ranks, I'm like, oh, this guy is level 7. It's okay. He's at least trying his best. He's not the best, obviously, that's why his face is level 7. But at least he's trying. It's not like he's throwing intentionally. I remind myself that everybody in the game is trying to win, unless they're actually trying to throw. That's when it gets a little bit upsetting. But when that happens, I just like, whatever. He's throwing anyway. What can I do about it? You know? That's the kind of attitude I try to approach it with. What's your favorite skin to use? My favorite skin to use is the skin that somebody gifts me. I do not have any specific favorite skin or worst skin or anything like that. Any sort of skin, it's a skin, man. It's just cosmetic. It's fine. Whatever looks nice. There are a lot of skins that look nice. I don't have a specific favorite. Okay, let's look at one of the questions. What are your future plans? This is a question that I have also been pondering on recently about what I should be doing. For now, it's to continue trying in Counter-Strike itself. But if I'm being very real, I need to keep my options open if I want to stay afloat and continue making money, right? Because I need some amount of money to feed myself and get some shelter and make sure I have some amount of savings for the future. With respect to that, I also have to think about whether Counter-Strike is the best option for me. So for now, with whatever team I have or whatever I will build for a few more months for the rest of this year maybe, I will continue to pursue Counter-Strike and try my hardest to get better at Counter-Strike and maybe make it into a better team. But if this results in no foreseeable future for me, if I see that, hey, there is no future for me in this because I'm not good enough to be the best in Asia, which is where I want to be. I want to be the best in Asia, so I get a good enough organization that can support me and I can make it higher and higher and higher in the ladder. Whenever this pandemic ends, whenever lands resume, I want to be playing those lands. So for that to happen, I need to qualify. So to qualify, I need to be good, right? And it's a team game. I can't be good and then expect to win either. I have to have a good team. So there's a lot of... It's a very slim chance, but I'm taking my chances until the end of this year. And if that doesn't work out, then I have to look at other career options or maybe switching over to another game. Just to make sure that I can put bread on my plate. No? It's hard. It's not what I desire. I wish I could continue Counter-Strike for the rest of my life. As of this moment, that's my thought process right now. But I also have to think about how I can stay alive. मैं तो मर जाऊंगा मैं भाई. You speak in English, so you could easily get international exposure on Twitch. It's not just English. You have to be damn tootin' good. Darn tootin' good. Alright, let's look at the next question. How do you bounce back after a bad game, and what do you do when you feel like your form is off? There's only one answer to this, and nobody's gonna like it, and it's practice. When you're bad, you were bad because you made mistakes. I practice to make sure those same mistakes don't happen. After I have a bad game, I have a look at why I had a bad game. I find out why I had a bad game, and I try to fix the issues on why I had a bad game. When my form is off, I've never understood the concept of having a form, you know? Like, oh my god, he's in form, he's not in form. It's just a feeling. It's a mental aspect there, and I don't try to build this mental barrier about whether I'm in form or off form. I always think of myself as a constant, my mind as a constant, and I try to work on issues that go wrong. So only those are the variables in my game. What are your thoughts on Valorant as a game? What do I think about Valorant as a game? Just like any other video game, if you played with your friends, it will be fun. For me, when I play alone Valorant, I do not have as much fun as I do when I play Counter-Strike alone. When I solo queue for Counter-Strike, I find it much more... How do I put this? I have much more enthusiasm when I play alone for Counter-Strike than I would if I would play Valorant alone. But when I played with friends, it's a fun game. It's very similar to CS. That's why maybe there's a lot of people and a lot of CS players that like it. For me also, because I like CS, I am automatically at some level of competency at Valorant as opposed to people who are just starting at FPS games. So I'm good with that. So I guess it's a good game. I think they've done a good job in creating a game that is at least contending with Counter-Strike, because for the longest time we've had no competitor for Counter-Strike. You know? One funny moment between tournaments. I don't think anything comes to mind really. I remember one time, I don't remember what tournament it was. It was a cafe tournament, and we were leading 15-6, right? I actually don't remember who I was playing with either. It was some cafe tournament, so it was with some Bangalore buddies here, right? And we were playing a tournament. I was leading 15-6, and forgive me if I can't get the details properly. And we were playing Mirage, right? And I told my team, guys, let's finish this fast, right? Because I had to go pee, and I didn't want to leave mid-game. I had to go pee, and I couldn't hold it in. And I kept asking for them to finish the game fast. And looking at me panic about having to finish the game, my entire team started panicking till the point where we went to 15-14 and I still had to go pee. And then I remember the 15th, 14th round, I was so agitated, right? No, it was actually 14-15 for them. We were 14, it was 14-6, I remember clearly. So 14, it was 14-6. They got to 15. We were at 14. So I was giddy as hell. I was just like, please, let's just finish this. I don't care if we lose, right? So what I do, we don't have a goodbye. I get Tech 9 armor, right? And I rush out A ramp, okay? I rush out T slope, and I just go, I'm just running out. And somehow, I don't even remember this because I was so high on adrenaline because I had to go pee. I kill 3 of them. I push into jungle. I take the op. I kill one more at market. And I kill the guy jumping B shot into mid. And then it goes into overtime. And I'm like, na ho pai mere se. And then I threw my headset off and I just went to pee. And then I came back and then we won the game 19-15. And मैं पीछा ये पहले नहीं कर सकते थे ये एक राउंड जीतना था बस एक 2 राउंड जीतना था बस ये पहले नहीं कर सकते थे. It went to overtime and I had to go pee and come and I'm like, Shanti. And then I could play calmly. But I remember getting an ace that round because I had to pee. And that always still like perplexes me. And at that moment, everybody knew that I had to go pee because I was shouting it out on the mic and everybody in the cafe was just like laughing their asses off. Like, Arey yaar, jaane de isko. This was back in the time where we didn't even have the timeout feature, right? So there was no like timeout feature. So After a half ends, it was like 1 minute 30 seconds tha. So overtime के लिए 1 minute 30 seconds tha. तभी मैं जाके I took a piss and I came back. So then it was fine. I was like, हो गया बस. I was happy. Alright, let's see the next question. How's the current ROG Academy team doing? How's it doing? Are they learning something? I believe so. I think this is a better question that you should ask for the players in the ROG Academy than me. Because I'll just say, yeah, they're doing well, they're learning something. But I could be biased, right? Because I'm teaching them. You should ask them, like, how was your experience as Marzil teaching well? Do you feel like you're learning something new? How is the team? They'll give you a much more honest answer. TM or GE or Godel or Soul, Marzil win. Come to Valo. uh, Even if I play, I don't think I'll be good enough. Like any other sport, does genetics also matter in CSGO? Just like how genetics might matter in a game of chess, genetics do make some amount of talent bloom in Counter Strike. And by talent, I mean the aim, the movement, the reflexes. All of those do matter. But here's the thing: you could be a player. Like I'll put it in terms of a relay or a running race or anything like that, right? Usain Bolt, the fastest man alive till now. He is blessed with his genes. Plus, he works really hard, right? He has a good work ethic and he has the genes to back it up so that he can be the best sprinter or the best runner or whatever they call the best running athlete in the world. Now, you or me, we can also follow his training regimen. We can also follow a good training regimen and get to a point where we are also faster than what we were before. We can also be fast. But will we ever be as fast as Usain Bolt, who is both blessed and has a genetics? Maybe not. Most likely not. Right? Because he has the talent, plus he has the work ethic. So, for a game of Counter Strike, also, there might be people who are talented and blessed. But the good thing about Counter Strike, it is a team game. So, you have 5 players. And when you have 5 players, and 5 players on the other team as well, talent plus the teamwork plus whatever you think about, all of this can be trained. So even if you're not good at a 1v1 versus that guy, you have your flashbangs, you have your smokes, you have your utility to cut him off. There are multiple ways in which you can approach it. Similarly, if you were to think about the same way as playing chess, there are grandmasters and there are grandmaster sons who are really good at chess and all that, and they have talent, they have a superior mind, and they can think multiple moves ahead. But you can also learn how to play chess, and you can get better at chess by learning how to play chess. But your ceiling and their ceilings are different. So it is a possibility that you may not be better than somebody, but you can still keep improving regardless. Opinion about Predator Helios 300 RTX 3060 i7. That's my opinion because I have no idea about laptops. When will Asus ROG Strix G15 with i7 11 Gen launch? कल भाई कल launch हो रहा है. Okay, next question. How were the players selected for the academy? What did you guys judge them on when selecting? So, if you open the questionnaire, right, which is what you get when you first register, it's basically a questionnaire asking you what role do you want to play as. Maybe as maybe as an entry fragger, maybe as a lurker, maybe as an opper, maybe as an IGL, whatever you want to apply for. Because different roles require a different set of skills, and maybe you think you're good at a certain skill, and that's why you applied for that, right? So based on that, there are certain questions that test you based on your understanding of the game. Questions such as an IGL, do you like micromanaging your players? What do you think is the most important in terms of all these categories like communication, micromanaging, this, that, and a bunch of other questions that actually check what you're good, what you think is the right option. Like maybe an example of communication, and you decide if it's good communication, bad communication, if what you should be doing in case you run into a problem, what would you instruct to a teammate who's struggling at this position. And some of them were MCQs, but the main important ones we graded on was subjective, so we had to read through the answers on what they would actually say, because you can get lucky with some MCQs if you guess the right option or something, right? So we also had subjective questions on how they would approach a problem, and based on that, they were either graded as potential or make it through to the first days where we want to see how he plays, right? So we graded based on that. And then from there, we take the top 50 or 60 players, and then we bring them to the day one of the tryouts where we shuffle the teams, and then we just make sure to look about how proficiently they're doing their role and trying, right? And then we would either, like, if players were really bad, if they were, because you require some amount of mechanical skill and talent and movement and understanding of the game to play. You can't just hop in and just think, yeah, I answered the question properly, I'll definitely be selected. So those people we would start weeding out till we brought it to around 20. And then we would move on to day two, where we would keep shuffling the teams on who we wanted to see more of, who we wanted to see IGL, who we wanted to see be a sniper. And then we would, from those 20, we'd pick out the best 6 suited for the role, the roles that we had asked for. And like that, we just selected who the 6 players would be. That's how the tryouts went. How does a training session look like? Can you give some examples on what you guys work on as a team? For this, I think it would be better if I showed you in game on what a training session would look like, right? Let's wait for the game to start. Connecting to CS network, बहुत ही बढ़िया. Okay, बढ़िया. So what we will do normally, right, is we will first, depending on whether or not we have some review of a demo pending the previous day, we will do that demo review where we watch the demo and then we point out mistakes that people would make. Or if we're trying to learn a new map, we will be actually explaining what we do on the map. So a normal day would be we pick a map, and if it's the first time I'm introducing that map or a new style of playing that map or something about the CT side or the setup, this is how I would go about it. So I will explain to you guys how I would explain it to the team, right? And maybe you guys can get a better idea. So today we are going to be exploring a method that most Danish teams use to play their CT side out. But some of this can also be observed in the current Navi, which has their AWPer, their primary AWPer, posted up on IV. Now, the reason why you have a player an AWPer towards IV is very simply, the main reason is to stop an A rush. How do they stop an A rush? Most A rushes that come from the T side includes flashes coming out from outside A main, which is station, and people running out in this lane. Now, the advantage of having an AWPer positioned here is anytime they rush out A main, the AWPer will reach here first, and he's able to punish anybody rushing out A main. Most problems occur when people try to come out connector like this, because most CTs do exit out connector to enter A side here because it's the fastest, and they think, hey, we're just gonna molly towards A main or we're gonna flash towards A main and we don't have to be affected by it. But the terrorists will be able to beat this molly and be able to come here and kill the players here. And usually the CTs will be caught with their nades out. So that's not a good precedent to set. So all this guy's job is to shut down the first guy that runs out. As soon as that happens, all the CT's utility will be deployed who are coming out from connector, and they are able to capitalize on trying to get top control or aim in control, whatever the IGL has called at freestyle, right? So after this is done, after he's ensured that this is not being rushed, he can either choose to use his utility to block off IV or just watch for the peak. Whatever he wants to do, whatever part of the default is later, that's left up to you. Maybe if you're trying to take heavy aim in control, or maybe you spotted the smokes that come out to sandwich an E-box, then he can choose to maybe climb up the trains and peek Olaf, or if he wants, he can climb here, we come here and peek. You can also choose to Moliola post that to make sure that anybody who snuck in has a very bad sunburn, right? So this is how the main concept behind how most Danish and some Ukrainian teams play. They have if your team has a very good Opper, you can position him here. In our case, it's Ghost in the ROG Academy team, so he will be playing here, followed by his other players who come out connector, and the first priority will be for them to throw a flashbang into A main, right? A flashbang is necessary into A main at this point so that anybody who tries to peek fast E-box, which cannot be stopped by the Opper who's at IV, will be... Right, the stream is back. So like I was saying, when there is a flash that is thrown, this guy is blinded and he's not able to get this peek in. So when this flash pops, this forces the player to move backward and he's not able to take the fight. This is especially helpful when there is a CT who's trying to get fast into pop top. When they're trying to get fast into pop top, this flashbang will push them back. So the first part of it will be a flashbang. The second piece of utility can be a Molotov. So when these two are thrown, it does not allow the enemy to be standing here, and he won't be able to peek past this point where he will see a CT cross. The next thing I make them understand is what the best spawn implies. The best spawn for rushing ladder is this, and when the terrorists have a best spawn, which is this point right here, who reaches what first? So if the terrorist is reaching this point, where is the CT with the top spawn? Where will he be? So if he's running into ladder, here's the idea. So when he's at this point is when the terrorist is speaking out A main. So this guy here, if he's running like this, when he approaches this, is when he should start worrying about A main. Until then, he stays anti-flash. So this is what we generally talk about, an early round setup, followed by what you can do mid round. So early round, it's with that, and I'll tell the other players like, hey, you can probably go to if you're playing double E-box, you can probably approach it like this and just take care of pop. The last guy who's coming towards A, if you're playing 4A, can have this flash ready in case they do rush out A main, in case you see flashes popping out A main, to just throw this flash so anybody who's running out from here, in case he's coming to take a fight, is blinded by that flash. So all of these details is what I provide them with, and then I have them dry run this a bunch of times while I play against them, or whoever the sixth man is plays against them. So we make sure we just get adjusted to what default they're trying to do, and then I give them a little bit of a theory, sort of like idea or a philosophy rather, on how they can approach trade. The philosophy I like to follow, which I've come up with, is very simple. Now for A, there are 3 entrances, right? One A main, one pop, and one IV. So the way to win a round for a CT or a T is to control 2 out of the 3. If you control A main and pop top, you win the round as CTs. If you control IV and inside A main, you win the round. If you control pop and IV also, you win the round, because they're all funneled through one choke point where they have to look at possibly everything. The same case for terrorist side, when T's are coming out and trying to hit A, if you want to guarantee success as a terrorist, you need to have at least 2 out of the 3 as control for coming out mid round. If you have all 3 of them, you are in the highest chance to win the round. If you're coming out pop, if you're coming out A main, and you're coming out IV, in any, if a situation presents itself like that, you will be able to pincer A site very effectively and get the site. So this is how we normally approach a practice session. We're discussing what setups they can play, with a discussion of the philosophy on why we're playing that setup and what they're trying to achieve. So with this early round setup, I will tell them like, okay, from here you can either choose to take A main with a flash, molly, whatever util set you want to, or you can choose to take pop. So after we do this discussion for a certain map, I have them go scrim and play it out, and after they have finished playing it out, then we will review the demo towards the evening and see where we went wrong and what we did right, what we did wrong, and try to fix on those issues the next day. This is how generally a practice session would go. Oh, okay. Thoughts on other teammates of Optic India other than Forsaken? I don't think about them, bro. I don't have time to think about them. अच्छे लोग हैं यार सब, जीने दो उनको. What are some things that intermediate-ish players don't look for in demos but pros do? No idea, man. I'm not a pro anymore. So I cannot say.
Grenade out.
What they look for, it could be a variety of things. Entry pathways, timings for utility, method of throwing utility. That could be a bunch of things. There's no concrete answer for that. Whenever I look at pro demos, it's just to get an understanding of basically if I have a question in mind about how I can take fast banana control on Inferno, or how I could take fast IV control, I go into the demo with that thought in my head. Like, how will I get control of IV? Right? Fast. How do I get control of IV really fast? And basically, when I go into a demo with that question, I usually get that answer. If I'm struggling with holding A, I look at, hey, how do the pro players hold off A site when there's a rush coming out? And I just look for rounds specific to how that is happening. So once I get my answer, I will either check if, hey, is what I'm doing right and I'm just fucking up my aim. Then I try to like make sure my aim is on tip-top shape. If it's not that, I make sure that I figure out what the pattern of utility is and just try to emulate that so I can figure out why something is useful and something isn't. Not pro anymore. I don't have an organization anymore. So, yeah. Okay. Go to the next question. What map is your favorite and why? My favorite map is Overpass. Change level D. Why is Overpass my favorite map? It is, in my opinion, the perfect map where it's not just your aim that decides whether or not you win a fight. On very puggy maps such as Inferno or Dust 2, it's really heavily reliant on your aim. But on Overpass, there's so many options available to you to try and win the round that you don't always need to be on your best day to win the round, but you have to just have your brain working to win the round. There are so many pieces of utility, new ones being discovered almost every other week. New metas trying to be deployed for Overpass. Such easy ways to get information as CTs for when they're coming towards Playground, when they're coming towards T-Slope. Such different positions you can play that in a pug, if people overlook, you can easily punish them. And even in tournaments and officials, it's all about the mind games. And when it's a question of mind games, I believe myself to be slightly more proficient than most players that play in this continent. I may not have the best aim, I may not have all the skill, but if it's about thinking about the game and analyzing what's good for the team and what helps the team, I am pretty confident with that. So that's why Opus is my favorite. Plus, it allows me chance to try something new, try something unique, and whenever I watch different teams, every one of them has a different way of approaching Overpass and a different style of approaching Overpass. Every day I see a new setup or a new methodology and taking something, some new utility in all the pro games. Very hard to observe that on Inferno and Dust 2, which has become sort of stale right now. Viraj especially, all those three maps, it's become sort of stale with the utility that you can throw. So yeah. What happened to Blaze? What happened to Blaze? We are not playing with Blaze anymore because Blaze wanted an Indian organization, but we are not an Indian team anymore, right? What do and don't survive IGL? Do survive IGL. Call, man. Don't survive IGL. Don't shut up. And don't go silent. Don't make sure you always have an early round, mid round, and late round call for your team. Don't survive IGL. Don't backseat game just because you're the IGL. Don't tell people exactly how to play out the whole round. Don't try to micro as much. so hard to answer questions like what are the do's and don'ts of IGL. You have to be less vague so I can answer them properly, guys. Hello, Marzil. What do you think about the ROG India roster? I don't think about them, bro. I think I should be thinking about them. But I do not understand the question, my friend. What do you want to know? IGL ka do's and don'ts. I don't know, man. ROG India roster, I did end up being part of the committee that picked them, so it would be very, what do you call it, biased if I answer that question. I think they're good kids, they're good guys. They're rough around the edges, but that's why they're in an academy to learn. I stop speaking whenever they maybe don't take my call, we start losing. Good job, Pranav, you're the worst IGL.
Deploying smoke shield.
I tilt a lot. Great, don't tilt. See, you're finding your answers yourself. So what are your plans with the X-Blaze roster? My plans? I don't have any plans. I'm not gonna massacre them. I'll play with them. Some people think you could have a huge impact on the Indian meta if you join Valorant. What do you think about it? I think I am a noob and that even if I join a different game, it's not going to be much different from CS. You know? Even if I don't know, man. I don't think I would have any impact at all. I'm a noob. Man noob. Man no player. I can only comment on whether or not I can be impactful if I try to compete in Valorant, which I'm not trying right now. Who's your favorite player in ROG Academy? I don't have favorites. I hate and love all of them equally.
Flashbang. Fire in the hole.
Thoughts on Artisans roster? Very sketch. I don't know who their coach is, never heard of him. Escudo is their IGL. I have never really heard him IGL, so I can't comment. Da Boy and Stinix, I don't think Da Boy is a really good player. Stinix is mechanically really gifted, but he lacks the communication skills needed as of now. Rossi being Rossi, fickle as ever with his decisions and what he wants to do. Yeah, I don't know any other player. I don't know about the other players, so I can't comment. Other player.
Throwing flashbang.
Alright, we have 15 minutes more, guys. So if you have any other questions, now is your time to ask them. So now you will no longer play tournaments. मैंने वो किधर बोला भाई? क्या? कुछ भी. I said I don't have an org. That doesn't mean I won't be that I will or will not be competing, है ना? ये कब बोला मैं? I said I'm not a professional anymore. A professional is somebody that gets paid by an org. I don't have an org that pays me.
Grenade.
Very simple. Very, very simple. Who's replacing Rossi in asking Q? Why don't you take this question to asking Q and ask them instead?
Fire in the hole.
International orgs not prefer to have Indian players in the roster. International orgs have no bias towards Indian players or A players or O players. International orgs want to pick the best players. Indian players definitely not the best. We are garbage. Alright, anything else? Mhm. How can I improve my rotations? Watch demos of professional players and look at it why they are rotating. Always ask the question about why they are rotating. When you figure out why they are rotating, you will be able to perform better rotations yourself because you'll find a similar stimulus to rotate. Who do you think are some of the upcoming players in India? All the players in the ROG Academy right now, Bull Nation. I generally hope you're able to achieve what you want to. Thank you, Cruel. Alright, I think that brings an end to the questions that I have on my Word doc. Thoughts on actual esports? No idea, man. I think they're really bad. No offense. I am just honest. I think they're a total mismatch of players. And they have no proper leadership. But what do I know? What do you think about the ROG India roster and why are you not personally in it? What do you think about the ROG India roster? They are upcoming players of India. Why am I not in it? Because I am the coach. Because there has to be someone that teaches them. Why would I be in an academy team if I am teaching them? And so look, how can I help my IGL? Give me info about rotations and cutting rotations? Question mark. Yes. What would your dream Indian team be, current? I don't have any. I think we as Indians, all of us are really bad players. I don't think there is a future for me having an Indian team. Everybody is absolutely garbage. It is unfortunate, but it is true. Indians have other distractions right now to try and play Valorant and then try to go pro there and then try to play some CS tournaments here and there or the most of them have stopped playing. The players that have remained are actually really, really bad. Unfortunate state of events. Is the ROG Academy going to recruit players for other games like Valorant? I am not the ambassador of. Ambassador? No. I'm not the head of which games we're going to go under AJ70. So I do not have the knowledge, and even if I had the knowledge, I don't have the liberty to comment on stuff like this. Is it worth it to move to another region to play CS? Is it worth it? That depends. If you go to any other region as of this point, you're bound to learn a lot more than you would staying here. Asian CS is all about worshipping the people with talent and whoever raw skill. That's to do with the thinking of it. It's just like EU reward the people that think about stuff. And it's like NA are a mixture of both, but they're pretty racist. Australia, I cannot comment. Australia's scene is too small to even say anything. Optic India did do really well, and I definitely believe they could have done the same without Forsaken. So, why do you think Indian players can't compete? It's a team game, right? I think Indian players cannot compete because all the Indian players have gone to Valorant. They've all gone to a different game, and when they were here, also, we couldn't accomplish jack shit. The only reason we could do anything was when we had a European IGL. We had a German IGL. We do not have any idea how to work as a team. Even the games we are really good at as Indians, maybe this is a wrong stereotype or whatever you want to call it, but even in a game, we are good at games that reward individuality. We're good at chess, rewards individuality. We're good at badminton, right? We're good at tennis. We're not good at tennis doubles, we're good at single tennis. We're good at cricket, which may look like a supreme team game, right? But it's mainly it's about how you bat. When you bat, it's just two guys only. It's not a team, right? People get out and then they come and whatever. It's still two players operating at any given point in time when you're batting. When you're fielding, it's about how your captain positions you like chess pieces and those individuals perform. There's no working together, working as a unit the whole time like football. That's why we suck at football. This is my idea about why we suck at team games. But I might be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, so that we can at least get good at team games. I think we were at a point good at hockey, but now we're not anymore. It's unfortunate. Man, can you tell how to deal with mental health? I mean, when you lose like 200 low debt and next day you rage every game. Yellow लेके क्या करेगा भाई? What will you do with yellow? Win or lose? So yeah, we as Indians aren't very good at teamwork. Not just in games, not just in sports. Working as a team on projects as well. If you ever noticed when you were in school or college, when there's group discussions or anything that you have to do as a group, it's usually one guy that does all the work and maybe some of them help out, but most of them are just like laid back and just letting one person do all the work, right? Thoughts on Gambit's playstyle? Very nice, very cool, very CIS. Do you think a proper IGL as coach can lead to an Indian team domestic get rights? No. We've been down that rabbit hole. We've reached whatever we could, but we are not individually or talent wise skilled. A coach might be able to help, but with people just fickly moving to Valorant, there's a vacuum of players who are at least at a decent level in terms of raw skill. There might be players who are willing to learn and willing to play, but they will take a lot of time to get to the point where their aim can compete against the ones of Asia. We're not there yet. We don't have those players. The players who are there, who are still growing, move to another game. Anyway, boys, 1 more minute left. I'll take one last question. Where do you think it is it easier to go pro, NA or EU? I know you don't have any experience, but give me some guidance. Where is it easy to go pro? NA, again, it's a team game, so you will first need to find a team to play in. If you go in EU, there's a huge abundance of players who might want to play with you. In North America, even if you find players, they will never be as good as the top ones. They'll just sit on top, like how it's similar to the very Asian scene. Like a team like Tyloo, X Tiger, which is a renewal right now, NG, all of those will sit on top and then shit on everybody else. Headset, they will be shitting on everybody else. There's no new team that is coming at all, right? Vici, Invictus, they all stay on top. Same way for North America, EG, Liquid, they will be on top. So even if you move there, finding players and coming to the top is hard. Extra Salt was looking good, but now they're like, whatever, you know? It's not easier in either region. Your easiest region to go pro right now is Asia. And that's the sad part. The easiest region to go pro in is Asia. But finding Asian players that are good, not that easy. Asian CS is so mind numbing. It's very easy to beat if you have a decent amount of talent and a decent structure of IGLing. Unluckily, we don't have either yet. That's what I hope to work towards by the end of this year. Anyway, guys, that is it for the stream. I hope I have answered some questions and what people can do. Shout out, please. Blow Muffin, shout out to you यार. ये मेरा channel नहीं है तो मुझे फर्क नहीं पड़ता. What's your favorite Asian pro team? I don't have one, my friend. I'm sorry. What happened to your nose, by the way? I am Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I have a nice pimple here. Alright, guys. With that, I will catch you guys later. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you have enjoyed this AMA session and I hope you all got to learn something. Until we meet again, thank you guys. Bye bye. Good evening. Take care and continue enjoying and playing the game you love.